Soccer Fanatics, your online football number one online football show, has returned this Saturday. However, the show starts on the somber note following the announcement of the passing of former Orlando Pirates, Ajax Cape Town, and Mpumalanga Black Aces striker Tendai Ndoro, who passed on Monday after he was found dead in his apartment in the country, most probably Johannesburg. Affectionately known as Fire, he made his name in South African football. The, especially with the not forgetting the memorable unforgettable brace he scored against Kaiser Chiefs in the Nedbank Cup last 32 round of 32 in 2016 at the FNB Stadium. He was capped 14 times for the Zimbabwe national team, went on to represent his country at the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations, which took place in Gabon. He was last on the books of Oman top flight side in Al Oba, while also plying his trade in the Saudi Pro League with Al Fasaili. He all things football rather sent its condolences to the footballing fraternity, his family, his friends, loved ones, the football fraternity at large. May his soul rest in peace. Tendai Ndoro passed on at just 40 years old. Here at All Things Football, City Aluhlanga Lungehlanga. With that being said, good afternoon. Welcome to it. This is All Things Football. My name is Apiwe Roto. Looking forward to what should be a great weekend of football with match week two of the English Premier League set to kick off today with the first game of the week Saturday after the five-star performance from Chelsea and a come from behind winning by 5 goals to putting five past West Ham United, winning by 5 goals to 1 in the process on the road after failing to find the back of the net against Crystal Palace in a goalless draw. One of the two games to finish goalless during match week one. Here's what you can expect as the footballing calendar is concerned for the year 2025-2026 calendar. MTN8, which got underway on the 2nd of August, will be concluded on the 13th of September 2025 with the second leg fixtures is expected to kick off today. We're gonna talk about that further going into as the show commences later. The Betway Premiership kicked off on the 9th of August will be concluded on the 23rd of May, while the English Premier League, which kicked off last week on the 15th, will be wrapped up on the 24th of May. Italian Serie A and the Spanish La Liga, the Spanish La Liga also kicked off on the 15th, will be also be concluded on the 24th. The Italian Serie A, Napoli will be defending their Serie A title, which is affectionately known as the Scudetto under a new mentor following the departure of Antonio Conte, who won the league with Napoli at Naples. Will kick off today with Napoli traveling to Sassuolo to defend their title on the road. UEFA Champions League kicks off on the 16th of September. The playoffs are currently underway. The draw will be conducted in early September. Calling Knockout Cup, the League Cup, Makesi FC will be defending their title on the 4th of October to the 6th of December, while the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations will see Bafana looking to capture only their second Africa Cup of Nations title since 1990, since winning their first one in 1996. The FA Cup and the Carabao Cup will be announced at a later stage as to the dates that is. While the Nedbank Cup, defending champions Kaiser Chiefs will be on a quest to defend their Nedbank Cup trophy, where they ended their 10-year drought towards the end of the previous season, from the 4th of February to the 2nd of May 2026. Not forgetting the world's biggest football showpiece, which will take place in USA, Canada, and Mexico. Well, the FIFA World Cup, the first to be contested by 48 different teams, with Argentina, the defending champions, having already booked their place in the World Cup in the tournament, will kick off from the Monday 11th of June to Sunday the 19th of July. Let's Let's talk all things football. The show brings you news, results, and fixtures. My name is Apiwe Roto. This is All Things Football, Football Unpacked, your number one online sports show. The show is available. Talk on you, interact with me on All Things Football, Football Unpacked on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you take a liking to the show. And of course, follow the show on the Facebook page, All Things Football, Football Unpacked. Not forgetting TikTok, All Things Football underscore 14. Instagram also available on Instagram at All Things Football underscore 14. On to the news making headlines in the world of football. We start with the Kaiser Chiefs, who decided against renewing the contract of certain players, namely Tebogo Potsane, who's currently been seen training with Siwelele FC. Will be hoping to get a contract. One of those players was Rangachiva Viro, who enjoyed mixed fortunes at the club, failing to deliver in the process. Not for Edson Castillo, Bongani Sam are also on a quest to find new clubs. While Sam has not found a new club, however, there will be concerns with regards to his fitness levels, which will be put into question considering that he's yet to kick a ball since 20. He has not kicked a ball since 2013, 2023. I beg your pardon. Last out, first in. It's a matter of last out, first in at Kaiser Chiefs for the team players that have been released. While the representatives of player Venezuelan Edson Castillo have been adamant that they would love for the Venezuelan midfielder to remain on the African continent. Sam has not found a new club since he has not, which makes things worse, as we mentioned. He has not kicked the ball since the year December in 2023. Castillo has been linked with Libyan club Australia. That team with that will be also be that keep stay tuned to All Things Football as we will update you with all those happenings. Some Danzana and Khadere are keeping their options open. With Chivaviro, there have been reports that there have been talks about him turning down Iraqi Stars League side, uh, Al Masul SC. Edmondson Dove has options back home. However, he is not keen on taking a pay. He will have to take a pay cut. As a result of this, he is not keen on returning. While Potsane has had a promising situation from training with Siwelele FC. There has been talks of contracts after 2 years of his struggle. He played 8 games last season. However, he did not However, not able to find the back of the net after 11 matches. In total, he played less than 10 games, 880 minutes in total over the 2 years that he was at Kaiser Chiefs. The 31-year-old has since been released due to performance-related reasons. While at it, we are looking forward to the Manchester United versus Tottenham side. I'll give you the starting 11 in the process. I'll give you the starting 11 in the process. Here's how the teams look as far as the much anticipated and as much as the anticipated encounter. Let's see if we have the Tottenham side. We start with the home side, that is, who's made a who made a statement win with the 4-0 win last week. Here's how they line up. The Manchester City, that is, James Trafford starts in the post, starts on goal with Rico Lewis, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Ryan Adnori, Nico, Tijani Reinders, Oscar Bob, Ryan Cherky, Omar Mamouche, and Erling Haaland. On the bench, you have Edison, Nathan Ake, Jeremy Doku, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Darwin Nunes, O'Reilly, Konosov, and of course Phil Foden. Here's how Spurs will line up going into the game. Another starting 11 that was released not too long ago. Vicarious starts and goals alongside Polinia, Richarlison, newly appointed captain. Sergio Romero gets to start. Mohamed Kudus, newly signed from West Ham, gets a start place in the starting lineup. Johnson gets a start along with Pedro Porros, Spence, Saar, Benteke, and of course Van der Ven. On the bench, we have Kinski, Danso, Tal, Gray, Bagwell, Vuskovic, Dominic Solanke, Odebet, and of course De Alessandro Davis. Onto your news making headlines. Kaizer Chiefs have acquired the signature of Nigerian forward Etiosa Ekitaro. The move comes after the Nigerian marksman had loan spell spent most of his career at Sundowns on the move, having had loan spells from Supersport United to the University of Pretoria to Chippa United, not forgetting his feeder Mamelodi Sundowns' feeder side and M Tigers, where he plied his trade after arriving from Nigeria. The 24-year-old will be assessed going into the game against Mamelodi Sundowns, which is on Wednesday. Kickoff for that fixture is at 19:30. Tickets are still available. Get a ticket while you still can. Speaking of which, talking of Kaiser Chiefs, still talking Kaiser Chiefs news. Kaiser Chiefs assistant coach and Khalil Ben Youssef has addressed matters regarding the absence of coach Nazruddin Nabi. Now we reported that coach Nazruddin Nabi went ahead to go away to look after his wife who was involved in an automobile accident. The Soweto Giants have started the game. They started the season on a good note, winning 3 out of 3, sitting and currently sit second on the table with 9 points. The Soweto Giants have had a perfect record. The last time they had the record of this nature was in the 2014-2015 season, where they went on to win the league. This can now we often say lightning does like the question it brings the question, does like can lightning strike the same place twice? That remains to be seen. This was confirmed by assistant head coach in Khalil Ben Youssef. Speaking to Khalil Ben Youssef at the post-match conference following the win over Richards Bay, he did confirm that. Now, remember, Kaiser Chiefs made some signings, namely Kanyiso Shinga, Flavio Silva, and of course Ethan Shizlet. However, the three signings are yet to start, despite Percy Ndlovu, Tabiso Monyane, and Basika Mako, who came on as a substitute in the 1-0 win over Richards Bay. We saw that he came off the bench, while Monyane has been exceptional. Percy Ndlovu found got on the score sheet and the win over Polokwane City last week on match day two. Yes, this was speaking to Khalil Ben Youssef. He went on to say Kanyiso Shinga is ready. He received his card to play. Now the three players were waiting for their work permits and their cards. However, he still has some fitness work to do with the fitness coach. Another one who still has to get his fitness coach his card, who just got his card, was Ethan Shizlet. However, he was sick. He didn't make any of the training sessions. Therefore he was not travel with the squad. He also confirmed that Coach Nabi will be back in the dugout to lead the team when they face Mamelodi Sundowns after he was given leave to attend to his wife. It remains to be seen if newly signed Etiosa Ighodaro, Luke Bartman, and Arsenal Velebai will be ready soon to make the squad with just 6 matches to prepare. However, with Velebai and Bartman, they are still undergoing the matter involving Cape Town Spurs which hangs above their heads, with the concerns that the 19-year-old and the 21-year-old might take longer before they join the side. On to our other news. Devon City coach Kevin Hunt has cited that he is willing to throw a lifeline for attacker and Pakamani Mashlambi. Now the attacker was seen training with the PSL newcomers following a 3-year hiatus. Now get 3-year hiatus from football following his off-field behavior, which led to his downfall. Now the former Bidvest Vets and Mamelodi Sundowns player who turns 28 this year is looking to revive his career by returning to top flight football. He was also the man who was once coined the next Benny McCarthy, was let down by off-field disciplinary issues, which reared its ugly head and turned his world upside down. He's played for Chippa United. He plied his trade with Sundowns and was loaned out to Amazulu after he returned from Egypt. With speaking to Gavin Hunt, who had something to say regarding the winger. He went on to say, I quote and unquote, he has to keep training, he has to keep running, he has to keep training, and if something happens, something happens. I told him, he knows, he accepted that. He said in an interview after the game against Golden Arrows at Chatsworth Stadium, which finished in a 1-0 draw. Speaking of which, we let's go back to Mamelodi Sundowns. Let's go back to news regarding Tendai Ndoro. His mother and Silas Mukundwa has made a plea to his former teammates and those who have work colleagues who have worked with them in the past to come and pay their last respect to the fallen star who will be laid to rest in Zimbabwe, in his homeland of Zimbabwe. Friends and family are mourning the death of the former Orlando Pirates star who passed away on Monday after he was found dead in his apartment. His mother is urging his former colleagues to come pay their last respect, according to Zimbabwean outlet Herald Online. His father, I beg your pardon, not his mother, Silas Mukunda, confirmed that the ex-striker will be laid to rest in Zimbabwe. He went on to say, we are still making contact with those who are in South Africa. Our son will be buried here at home, he said. Some of the family members and fans are still on their way. It has been a devastating situation, but we are happy with the support we have been getting. Dore's mother, Christina, is invited former teammates and colleagues to celebrate his life. I invite all who played with Tendai to come and celebrate his life. As someone who they played football with, there are many things Tendai did for us as a family, but we can't mention all. But God knows what he did for us and has taken him back. Doro hanged his boots and during his peak years in South of his career in South Africa, representing the likes of Orlando Pirates, Pumalanga Black Aces, Highlands Park, and of course Ajax Cape Town. Let's move back to the Kaiser Chiefs saga with Cape Town Spurs. Kaiser Premier League Soccer League administrator has opened up on the matter regarding Cape Town Spurs following claims that they were not compensated for their two players, namely Luke Bartman and Arsenal Velepai, after the Starlets were declared as free agents by the PSL Dispute Resolution Chamber, clearing them free to join Kaiser Chiefs. Now, the complaint is that the move is going to destabilize the development, which is the development going forward, as Spurs are adamant that the players are worth more. Now, if you remember clearly, as we had this conversation last week, Kaiser Chiefs had approached Orlando Pirates, Cape Town Space, I beg your pardon, for the services of Arsenal Velepai, which they declined. They declined the offer of 4 million rand, with the addition of two players in exchange for the services of the then 19-year-old before the side got relegated. They ended adamant. Now the Eagles are currently at Urban Warriors, I beg your pardon, are adamant that the losing players such as Arsenal Velepai and Luke Bartman after the dispute resolution chamber declared them as free agent following relegation to the lower division is an injustice to development football in the country. And speaking to Spurs, Alexi, CEO on the Spurs website, Alexi F. Statau, he states that this is not about bitterness, it's about sustainability, he said, voicing in a displeasure in a letter which was published on the club's website. We invest heavily in developing young players, but if clubs like ours are continually losing players without any return, it becomes impossible to sustain that model. Ultimately, it's the next generation of footballers who will suffer. We need to protect development. Right now, there is no recognition or support from institutions or government. If this continues, football development will become an endangered species in our country. For those who don't see the bigger picture, you're on the path to killing football, the press CEO continued. Speaking to a PSL administrator who is an expert in training and development compensation to weigh on the claims made by the CEO. The narrative, it says, I quote, the narrative of playing the victim in the media on a daily basis by Cape Town Spurs is misleading the footballing general public. There is a mechanism in place for all clubs in South Africa through the South African Football Association to claim TND, training and development compensation rather, for footballers they have developed from the age of 12 through to the age of 21. Revealed with the administrator revealed. Yes, it might not be met the millions Spurs want, but to say they won't get anything is not correct. All NSL clubs sign at the beginning of the season to accept the rules and regulations of the leagues. How this is how they then receive the grant. If Spurs had a problem with any rule, including the rule that allows a player to be free on relegation to amateur status, they could have challenged it from the onset. Uh, they could have challenged it from the onset. It is understood that Spurs can claim training and development compensation from the South African Football Association for Valebai and Bartman, although the amount is not as substantial. It would be if it were a transfer fee. On to our other news. Moving to Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns are looking set to face off against the FIFA Tribunal Court following the move following Lucas attacking Mamelodi Sundowns attacking midfielder in Lucas Ribeiro Costa, who's expressed desire to leave the preparatory Premiership champion. He's been a subject of interest following his exploits in the Club World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, which took place in the USA, where he found the back of the net, were attracting interest from sides, namely Qatar SC in Qatar, which did not happen. He is yet to feature this in for the Pretoria Giants this season, with one MTN 8 match played and three in the league. It is now revealed that he is prepared to take the team to the FIFA Tribunal Court. Now, when we talk of the FIFA Football Tribunal Court, now this is the court that goes through the contract of players. Completely different from the dispute resolution chamber. Tribunal is the bigger court. It's the world football's governing body. It talks disputes regarding the movements of the players. Speaking to We seem to have lost that one. We're gonna come back in a moment. We seem to have lost the story. We're gonna come back in the moment. Okay, we got that. Apologize. What is clear is that now the relationship seems to have broken down between the 26-year-old Brazilian and and his current employers, Mamelodi Sundowns. He wrote in his statement claiming, "I will now consider what is best for the future of my career in order to make the right choice." The prayers below. There was a press release below stating that Lucas Ribeiro Costa terminated his contract with Mamelodi Sundowns FC. A professional footballer of Brazilian nationality announces that he has terminated his employment contract with the South African club on the 1st of August. Now, he took part in the FIFA Club World Cup, as we have mentioned. In a statement that he wrote, he states that I believe I have just cause to terminate my contract with Mamelodi Sundowns, which I will explain before the Football Tribunal. However, in any event, following the Diarra ruling in the CGEU, there is no doubt that the dispute between me and my former club will not prevent me from continuing my career with peace of mind. Indeed, following its own regulations as amended in light of the Diarra judgment, FIFA will see to it that the international transfer certificate be immediately delivered by upon request by my future employer. I received expressions of interest from various clubs, including some within the European Union. I will now consider what is best for my career in order to make the right choice that will allow me to flourish as a sportsman and try to provide for the future of my family, knowing that a player's career is short. As a reminder of the following the Diarra ruling, my next employer will not be involved in the dispute between me and Mamelodi Sundowns, neither from a disciplinary perspective nor financially. Qatar Sports Club had sent Mamelodi Sundowns a particular generous offer, well above the player's valuation for the Brazilian services who wanted to join the club. However, Sundowns attempted to, from what we hear, to drive up the price again in an unreasonable manner, which made the deal impossible. Lucas Ribeiro has therefore now no other choice than defending his legitimate interests in the FIFA tribunal and the court arbitration of sport, which is headed by our own South African Raymond Heck. Lucas Ribeiro is represented in this dispute by Mr. Jean-Louis Dupont, an attorney at law in Barcelona Bar. As the show commences, you can also look out for the game between Tottenham Hotspur, who travel to Manchester City, I beg your pardon, at the Etihad Stadium, which kicks off in less than 10 minutes. Kickoff for that fixture is at 13:30. Uh, kickoff uh, Kickoff is at 13:30. Mamelodi Sundowns. Oh, space still talking Mamelodi Sundowns stories. Mamelodi Sundowns are said to be without, but the midfielder Temba Zwane, who has been ruled out for 2 months due to an injury after he was stretched off in the game again in the 1-1 draw against Orlando Pirates. Now the 34-year-old was fresh. The 35-year-old, I beg your pardon, was fresh from injury, returning after being stretched after he tore his ACL during the AFCON qualifier against Congo and Brazzaville just last year, meaning he spent most of last year or on the sidelines. However, the it remains to be seen. He will undergo late fitness test, which will be seen today, judging from the starting 11 between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates. Tickets for that game have been sold out already. Speaking to Coach Cardoso, who's crossing fingers that the veteran campaigner could return to action sooner than expected, despite being ruled out for 2 months. Unfortunately, Temba will be out. Stated that Temba will be out for, I believe, maybe around 2 months. Probably he said after the league match against Magesi at the Seshego Stadium, but he will come back stronger. I believe for sure. We're expecting him to come back as quickly as possible. Since the moment he got injured, the club has made every effort to make that time to as much as make effort to make that time as much as every effort to make let's go back. Since the moment he got injured, the club has made every effort to make that time as much as possible. Apologies for that. Let's hope we get it as short as possible, he added. The likes of Tebogo Mokoena, Marcelo Allende, and Kiana Cupido were benched on the day, most likely wrapped in cotton wool, in the game against Magesi, where they won by 2 goals to 0, handing the Limpopo-based side their very first defeat at the Seshego Stadium, which has been known as a fortress, have not lost a game since moving to the newly revamped stadium. On to our other news. Chipa United have appointed a new coach who was seen moving who was seen landing at the OR Tambo Airport during the week. Nick Coach is no stranger to the PSL, having coached the likes of Free State Stars and Polokwane City. Now, this is the same coach, yes, Luke Amail, who ended a 24-year-old cup drought for Cape Town for the now defunct Free State Stars, with whom they won the Nedbank Cup, which they had not after having not won a domestic trophy in the league since the 1994 Carling the Coca-Cola Cup, which would then be known as the Carling Knockout. We seem to have lost the other story. Let's see if we can find it. And now Luke Emil, Belgium made history, as we said, by guiding the now defunct Free State Stars to Nedbank Cup victory with a win over the now defunct Maritzburg United. He has also led Polokwane City among other teams. He is to the Gorecha based side, it is said that the coach, speaking to Football Magazine in South Africa, the coach and Luke ML, he did say that it is not a rumor. I am here in Port Elizabeth. I arrived on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. We have been at immigration for a work permit. He signed a 1-year contract from what we hear with the option of an additional year. Cape Town Chipper United will face Richards Bay, who currently sit bottom at the Princess Makoko Stadium on Tuesday. Kickoff for that fixture is at 19:30. On to Bafana news. On now, Luke Emile. I must emphasize that Luke Emile succeeds the now departed coach Insna Temba Badela, who was replaced following a fallout with the sporting director of the club after the two could not see eye to eye. And other news, the last story on our bulletin today, or on our show, we see the prelim squad, which will be trimmed down to 23. Bafana, remember, face Nigeria and Lesotho and Nigeria, with both games set to be played in Bloemfontein. The game against Lesotho will be played away. Lesotho will be the home side in that game. Goalkeeper selection made in a selection that was made. It includes a Mamelodi Sundowns captain, goalkeeper and captain Ronwen Williams, who will most likely retain the armband alongside Ricardo Goss and Siwelele FC. Ronaldo Lina, who's been impressive with Skukuna United, also makes the cut with support chain of Orlando Pirates, Darren Johnson, Sydney Moby, Siwelele FC, Koloman Damane, Thabo Mloisane, Nkosinathi CBC, Mbekezeli Mpokazi, Themba Zwane, Siphombule, Khuliso Mudau. Samkelo Kabini is one such player, is one of the mentioned players. Fawaz Basedin, Tapelo Morena, Mihlali Mayambela, Keegan Allen, following his impressive start to the season for Amazulu, gets rewarded alongside Zugom Dunyelwa. Newly Germany-based Ime Ogon also makes the prelim squad along with Malibongwe Koza, who was at the Chan tournament with Bafana, Malibongwe Koza, Bradley Cross of Kaiser Chiefs, Violet Klapper makes the cut. Lyle Foster, Talent Mbata, Ndamulelo Mapungula, Luke Leroux. Spesihle Mkhize also makes the cut. Evidence Mahopa, Devin Titus, Evan Austrian-Apollos of Orlando Pirates, Patrick Maswanganye, Tepang Moremi, Ekrem Reyners, Poso Ditejane, who's been impressive at TS Galaxy, alongside Mohamed Kota, who now plies his trade in Saudi Arabia, Relebogile Mufugeng, as Kamachelo Spelebele, who's also been impressive since joining Orlando Pirates, netting 2 goals in all competitions. In the Ashley Cupido of Stellenbosch FC, Batusi Opas, Siabo Wangezana, who now applies his trade in Romania, Jaden Adams, Aubrey Mudiba, Tebogo Mukwena, Diana van Rooyen, Duduzi Shabalala, and Bongo Kuhle Shongwane. Remember to interact with me on All Things Football Unpacked on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button, like the page, ring the bell for future notifications of the show, which premieres every Saturday at lunch hour, with the latest being 2 p.m. And you can also talk to me. You can also interact on Instagram at all things football underscore 14, or and not forgetting TikTok, at all things football underscore 14. Don't forget to like the Facebook page, All Things Football, Football Unpacked on Facebook, and myself, Apiwe Roto 3 on Facebook, and Apiwe Roto underscore 03 on Instagram. Let's give you a lowdown of what happened. As now that we've concluded the news, let's give you a lowdown of what happened in the first week of the last week, dating back to the 16th of August in football. We saw Mamelodi Sundowns and Pirates play to a 1-0 draw after Kamgelo Sibelebele cancelled Tebogo Mokwena's lead opener in the first half with a late equalizer in the 80th minute for the game to finish 1-1. Stellenbosch won against, take a 2-0 advantage to Skukuna United at Bulukwan after winning 2-0 at the Danny Cravens in a rain-infested Danny Craven Stadium. In the English Premier League, match week 1 continued with Aston Villa and Newcastle being the only match not to give us goals on Saturday, while Tottenham sent a strong state message to Burnley, winning by 3-0. Sunderland also winning by the same scoreline of 3-0, while Brighton and Fulham could not be separated, playing to a 1-0 draw. Another statement made was by Manchester United with Erling Haaland, the usual suspect, getting on the score sheet with a brace, netting, winning by four, as said the citizens won by 4 goals to nil. Sunday saw Chelsea and Crystal Palace in a London derby, which did not provide goals as it finished goalless, while Nottingham Forest played were was 3-0 victors over Brentford at the City Ground. Monday, we saw Mechi finish from the penalty spot to give Leeds United their first win of the season by the odd goal from the penalty spot. Tuesday on the 19th of August saw Kaiser Chiefs get one over Richards Bay with a goal from Gaston Sereno from an odd goal in the Betway Premiership, which was match day 3. Durban City and Golden Arrows could not be separated, playing to a 1-0 draw. Chippa United fell short despite scoring first, losing by 4 goals to 1 at the at the Buffalo City Municipality Stadium. Similarly, FC falling short at their adopted stadium at the Lucas Masterpieces Moripe by an odd goal. Orbit College fell short to Sekhukhune United by 3 goals to nil, while Kamgelo Sibelebele was the difference on Wednesday between Stellies and Pirates, with the first half win to give the Pirates their first 3 points of the season. Amazulu also proved too strong for Marimo Gallants with a goal from Keegan Allen on scoring with an odd goal, while the likes of Peter Shalulile, who is now on 129 goals in PSL football, finished when he handed Makesi a 2-0, their first ever defeat at the Seshego Stadium. Ever since they relocated to the stadium, they suffered their first defeat, losing by 2 goals to nil. English Premier League fixture last night. Match week 2 kicked off last night on Friday, the 22nd of August, with West Ham, who fell short despite taking the lead and getting on the receiving end of the 5-star performance from the Blues, who won by 5 goals to 1. Here's what you can expect as far as the Premier League is concerned today, in terms of the fixtures. That is, match week 2 kicks off with match week 2 rather continues with Cape Manchester City facing off against Tottenham, which is set to kick off at any second now. Both will be followed by Bournemouth and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Burnley will face off against Sunderland in a game which many have tipped Burnley to win. Brentford will face off against Aston Villa. All 3 games will kick off at 1600 hours simultaneously, before we close off with Arsenal facing Premier League returnees in Leeds United. Sunday will see Crystal Palace looking to get their first 3 points against Nottingham Forest, while Everton play their first game at the new home ground at the Hill Dickinson Stadium against Brighton and Hove Albion. Full while we close off with Fulham, who welcome Manchester United at Craven Cottage. We close off Monday with Monday Night Football, which will kick off at 2100 hours between Newcastle and Liverpool. Semi-finals fixtures, second legs will first off today with Orlando Pirates traveling to Mamelodi Sundowns at a sold-out Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium. Now let's give you the permutations for those who don't understand, since the game finished 1-1. If the game ends in a goalless draw today, Sundowns will advance to the final on an away goals draw. However, should the game finish 1-1 today, it's straight to penalty shootouts. If Pirates score more, if it ends in a draw, be it a 2-2 or a 3-3 or a 4-4 or whatsoever, then Pirates will go through because they've scored more away goals than Mamelodi Sundowns. Kickoff for that fixture is at 1500 hours. The game tickets have been sold out. They were sold out by the time they released on Monday. If you do not have a ticket, please do stay at home. Please go watch at a sports bar, watch at your friend's house, watch at that local Shisanyama. Do not force matters, otherwise law enforcement will be forced to deal with you accordingly. Another game you can expect to follow the game. The Pirates game is the Sekhukhune United, who will be currently trailing by 2 goals to nil against Stellenbosch FC at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium. Kickoff for that fixture is at 1800 hours. Match day four of the Battery Premiership kicks off on Tuesday with GS Galaxy welcoming Siwelele FC at the Mbombela Stadium. Stellenbosch welcome entertain Marumo Gallants, while Durban City travel to Polokwane City, hoping to continue their good form. Orlando Pirates welcome PSL New Battery Premiership newbies in Orbit College. We conclude Tuesday with the Richards Bay taking on Chippa United. All kick matches will kick off simultaneously at 19:30. Wednesday sees three games, a triple header with all three games once again kicking off at 19:30 with Golden Arrows taking on Makesi FC, while Kaiser Chiefs will renew their rivalry with Mamelodi Sundowns. Skukune United will welcome Amazulu. We kick off match day, and of course on Friday we kick off match day four with Siwelele FC, who will welcome Richards Bay. While the grounds are being so taken care of, they will play their games away from Bloemfontein. And that's all we have for on all things football this Saturday episode. With match day three comes with the conclusion of match day three in the Battery Premiership. We bring you match day three of all things football. Remember to hit that like button on YouTube if you've taken a liking to the show, All Things Football Unpacked. Hit that subscribe button. Your support is much appreciated. Your advice, I hear your advice, I hear your pleas with regards to the quality content. Apologies once again for the poor picture quality. It is being worked on. Not forgetting your to interact on TikTok at all things football underscore 14, Instagram all things football underscore 14, like the Facebook page all things football Impact. That's all we have time for. Currently underway, it's my man It is Tottenham traveling to Manchester United at the Etihad Stadium. The goal match is currently goalless. That's all we have time for. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the football. My name is Apiwe Roto. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.